Hey readers, and welcome to Lesson 2, Reading for Your Audience. Now that you know what your book is all about, it's time for the fun part. Let's narrate. Long before there was a written language, humans have been telling stories to one another. Without even thinking about it, we are constantly telling stories from our lives. A crazy thing that happened at school, or about that really weird guy that followed you home from the park one day. When we do, there's a certain energy we bring that gives our stories a little life. We take our friends or parents, whoever we're telling the story to, on a little journey with a beginning, middle, and end. Yet when it comes to reading out loud, we become so caught up in the words and reading that we forget how to make our stories exciting. In this video, we're going to cover a few different techniques to help ensure that you bring your story to life. First things first, let's figure out who your audience is. Who's the book written for? Who would usually read this story, or in this case, who is listening to the story? Why is this important? Well, we speak very differently to different people in our lives. For example, the way you greet your best friend is going to be very different from how you speak to your grandmother or a stranger on the street. Audiobooks can be a pretty lonely job when you think about it. You're by yourself in a little room with a microphone for what can be hours. As we read, the words can all blend together, and it's easy to forget that we are actually telling the story to someone. In real life, when we tell stories, we have an objective: to make sure that whoever we are speaking to is listening to us, and if we do our job right, take them on a journey. This is your purpose as a reader. That's why it's so important to have a clear picture of who you are telling the story to. So pick someone from your life, your mom or brother, maybe a group of people like your 3 best friends or a class of preschool kids. Then, when you read your story, imagine that you're speaking to them. Visualize their faces. Try to keep their attention and take them on the journey. It sounds simple, but it can make a big difference in bringing your story to life. We've all had that one teacher that puts us to sleep. The one who lists fact after fact after fact in a boring, monotone cadence that makes you want to pull your hair out. What connects these monotoners is that they speak flatly without having much dynamic in their voice. This section, I'm going to cover a topic I call making your words dance. If you've ever been to your little sister's dance recital, you probably know that watching someone who does the same move over and over and over again can get a little boring. On the other hand, when you see a dancer that uses different moves with different timing and flows, they are usually much more exciting to watch. This isn't a dance class, but it is the exact same principle that you should think about when narrating. I have a few techniques that can help you achieve this. First of all, don't be afraid to change the speed of your read. Instead of keeping one tempo throughout, you can take some time with some sentences and speak faster through others. I like to take my time when it comes to descriptive passages. This gives me the time to help paint a picture and let the audience see that picture. On the other hand, you can speak a little more quickly through action. Take these 2 sentences, for example. The hot sun beat through fluffy white clouds while an orchestra of songbirds chirped in the distance. Versus, the crocodile was closing in. Jack's heart pounded and swam faster and faster to try and escape its powerful jaws. In the second sentence, the fast-paced action gave way for a quicker read. Another effective way to help make your words dance is pausing. Remember when we discussed punctuation in Lesson 1? Well, consider punctuation to be your roadmap. Commas and periods are the most common forms of punctuation. Commas indicate a brief pause, and periods represent a more final ending to a phrase or sentence. Take this passage, for example. For lunch, I had a peanut butter sandwich, banana, and a big glass of chocolate milk. Now, I have a tummy ache. Do you see how I use the commas to slow myself down? How about the bigger pause for the period? Not only do these help to separate thoughts, but it gives us readers a chance to catch our breath. You may have also noticed that I slightly changed my voice for each item on the lunch menu. When you see a list of things, separated by commas, you should give a slightly different value to each item. In narration, we call this chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. A peanut butter sandwich, banana, and a big glass of chocolate milk. Sounds much more fun than peanut butter sandwich, banana, and big glass of chocolate milk. Two other common forms of punctuation are question marks and exclamation points. These are great indicators that we should be doing something a little different with our voices. When we ask a question in real life, our voice goes up. Do you like chocolate milk? Just like you would ask a question in real life, when you see a question mark in a book, make your voice go up. And one of my favorite things to see in writing, the exclamation mark. These are used to indicate strong feelings or emphasis. One of the best ways to bring an exclamation point to life is add a little volume or excitement. Have fun with it and do not be shy to get loud. For example, watch out doesn't sound nearly as exciting as watch out! Another type of punctuation that is a little more rare to see is the ellipses, or ... An ellipses is used to show that there is omitted text or information. Perhaps the author has written a list that goes on and on and on, but instead of having to read it all, it is ended with ... Have you ever heard someone say something like this? Ellie was called into the principal's office. When she sat down, Mr. Hutchinson told her she was late, lazy, uninterested, etc., etc. Etc. is the spoken version of an ellipses. The principal spoke for much longer than the list is written, and this way we don't have to sit and wait to hear every one of them. The best way to read this type of pronunciation is to let your voice trail off. Last but not least, onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia are words that are formed by using the sound they represent. Words like whizz, zap, meow. Did you hear how I changed my voice? We all have an idea of what those words sound like, so here's your chance to practice all your sound effects. You can even apply the same skill to other descriptive words. Take the word hot, for example. Well, hot can be used to describe something that burns to touch, maybe it's something spicy to eat, or even describe how attractive your favorite member of One Direction is. Hot versus hot versus hot. Just as you might use the sound to bring onomatopoeia to life, try to bring your descriptions to life using the words. Try this one. The salty steak sizzled on a blistering hot pan. All this food talk has made me hungry. I think that is enough word dancing for today. In our next lesson, we will cover one of my favorite topics and another super fun way to avoid reading like that monotone professor. Characters. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next video.